Hey, what's up, Spencer? My name is everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the worst thing that ever happened to me at Pride, and yeah, it was bad enough that I had to come back from my hiatus just to tell you guys about it. But first, don't forget to click like and subscribe for more videos like this, and now let's get into the horror. So this story actually starts before I even got to Pride. So I went with quite a large group of people this year. There were 7 of us in total, so me and 6 women. And of course, we had all met up at one of the ladies' houses so that we could all coordinate what we were doing before we headed out to Pride. And at one point I had even made a joke to one of these ladies that if they ever had no idea where I was, they should look in the kitchen because the kitchen is the most central place of the house. So I always feel like people culminate back there. So it was getting pretty late and I happened to find myself standing alone in the kitchen, wondering where everyone else was. So I decided to start looking for where people were. And when I came outside onto the front lawn, I found the 6 ladies were all together taking a group picture without me. And when they saw me, they started like scream laughing and ran over and assured me that they hadn't really forgotten about me. It was an accident, surely. And I know that on a level, they probably really did genuinely just forget about me. I am the newest member of the group, but at the same time, it still really hurt because this isn't even the first time that people have forgotten about me for a group photo. But anyway, we all end up packing up, getting into the car, and driving the 45 minutes to Pride. As soon as we get there, everybody needs to get a drink, despite the fact that they all had like 6 Jello shots on the way down. So, thanks to my friend Sammy, we ended up getting to park right outside of a bar because she knows a guy. And the thing that I love about Sammy is that it does not matter where you go, she knows a guy. I'm serious, I can't take her anywhere without somebody coming up to us and being like, "Hey Sammy, what's up?" So I walk in and I'm immediately assaulted by this sign that says $3 tacos. And I'm like, hell fucking yeah, I want a $3 taco. Especially since they had steak tacos, and where else are you gonna get a $3 steak taco? So I go up to the bar, order my taco, and then because there were people behind me, and I'm a very kind, generous, and empathetic person, I scooted down the bar so that the people behind me could order. So I stayed chilling at the end of the bar for a few minutes while I was waiting for my taco, when all of a sudden, the music cuts out and I hear, "Dead name, I have a taco for dead name." And I just automatically like freeze up, and I'm standing there with my eyes closed trying to remind myself that there are other people in the world who also have that name. They can't be talking about me because that's not my name. But they just keep calling it over and over and over again, and I'm doing my best not to cover my ears because it's starting to drive me insane when one of my friends taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, I think they're calling your taco." So it only took me a minute to figure out what happened. The bartender, instead of using her eyes to look for me when my taco was ready, decided to take my dead name off of my credit card, go to the drag queens on the stage of the bar, and tell them to scream my dead name across the entire bar to like 100 people. And of course, at this point, the drag queen has already called my name like 12 times, so everybody is looking around to see who this person is. So when I have to walk up to the stage to get my taco, everybody is staring at me. And of course, the drag queen ends it off with saying, "Well, have a great rest of your Pride, dead name." And like that just, ooh, isn't that just the Parmesan on the top of the meatball? So I come back, and when one of my friends sees my face, she asks me what's wrong, and when I tell her, she says, "Oh my god, that's terrible." Anyway, what were you saying, Jessica? Like, I was really surprised at the lack of reaction that I got from the group of people who I was with because, and I don't think that I mentioned this before, the other 6 people who I was with were also all trans. So like if I was out with a bunch of cis people, I could just brush it off as them like not understanding like why something like that is terrible to happen to a trans person and how like emotionally damaging it could be. But the fact that it came from other trans people just, I don't know, made me feel like I wasn't trans enough for this to be an issue that they needed to be concerned about. I don't know. Part of me feels like if it happened to them, the situation would have been a lot different than the way that it was when it happened to me. Nothing specific really happened the rest of the night, but it wasn't really the best. Everybody got drunk, except for me, because I have a stupid high tolerance. Everybody yelled at each other. Everybody walked back and forth across the half-mile of street for some reason, as opposed to like actually doing anything. And then at one point in the night, I found myself completely alone. Everybody had just left me. So I ended up going to one of my favorite bars where you can actually pay a couple bucks to get in and then play a whole bunch of like 80s games for as long as you want. They have a lot of really cool standard arcade games. But I was also able to check out this really cool rhythm game that has a piano bass, so it's kind of like a cross between Guitar Hero and a rhythm game. It's really cool. I can't wait to go back and play it again. And I also ended up meeting this guy who looked just like Jarvis Johnson, so I just kind of pretended that I was spending my night with one of my favorite YouTubers. Thanks for hanging out with me, Jarvis. I had fun. And I ended up actually getting kind of scared that once again they did forget about me, because it ended up being like 1:30 in the morning and I hadn't heard from anyone in a few hours. So I started to get really anxious that they had gotten in the car and gone home without me, which they didn't. They actually made a whole bunch of jokes the entire night about like, oh, is Spencer here? Gotta make sure that Spencer's here. Which was like one of those jokes that's like funny, but not funny at the same time. But we did all come back together. We got back to this girl's house. We all ended up going to bed. And when I woke up, half the people had left without saying bye to me, and the people who I texted saying bye to them never texted me back. So that was how my Pride went. What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you at Pride? I want to know. I know that there's probably some crazy fucking stories out there, because when you mix together a bunch of queers, a bunch of alcohol, and then everything else, crazy shit happens. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and besides that, stay safe, be nice, and have a fantastic day. Bye.